Okay, I think it's that time. So welcome everybody that's here today, and we appreciate you coming to learn a little bit more about the biotech programs at the regional collaboration. We call ourselves the Orange County Biotech Education Collaboration, and you have a variety of faculty from the different colleges here today, as well as some of our regional staff here to give you a little bit of information about our biotech programs, what you can do with them. And we're very happy you're here today. And we're going to start out with our career coach, a regional career coach, if I could speak, our regional career coach, Danielle Alared, and she's going to give our overview of the program. So take it away, Danielle.
Awesome. Thank you. That was Denise Foley from SCC. And so what we'll do, guys, today is we're going to go through and you're actually going to meet faculty from all of our different colleges, as well as the different staff members, too. So I'm really excited to get started. Here's what to expect. So from 2 to 3, we'll be having this info session, and we're really going to focus on our certificates, degrees, and career pathways. And that way you can see a lot about what biotech has to offer you and maybe see yourself in this field. And then from 3 to 4, we'll be doing a lab tour, and we'll be switching to Microsoft Teams, and we'll be doing a lab tour hosted by Avid Bioservices. And Lorna, their HR, will be walking us through, and you guys will get to see an awesome layout. This is one of the coolest tours you can go on, and maybe even see yourself doing some biomanufacturing in the future. So let's go ahead and get started. So the way I think we should always start is by defining biotechnology, right? It's a big word, but at the end of the day, what it really does, the key takeaway is that it's going to improve our quality of life. And the way biotech does that is that biotechnology is the application of science and technology to solve problems and make useful products, right? Anything from laundry detergent to the vaccine, these are all examples of biotech. And we'll start to dive in a little bit deeper into some of the different fields within biotech that you can get into. So key takeaways from today, you just got to know that biotech is going to help you get back to what matters. So first and foremost, we're going to show you how you can save money by going through this biotech STEM education. Typically, STEM education means a lot of college and a lot of funds, but we have this unique program that helps you save money, and then you'll get to see some of the money that you can make potentially if you're working in the field. So you're going to save money and make money. You're going to get to see different challenging and engaging aspects. Biotech is fun. You gain skills, not only hands-on skills, but interpersonal skills as well. And you work with really dynamic teams. And we'll show you more about that too. This is a growing industry, right? If there's any key takeaway you're going to leave with today is, wow, biotech does so much for Orange County. I can only imagine what it does all over the world. So I'm really excited to discuss that data with you. You'll get to see some new technology that maybe you haven't heard of, or maybe you've seen in the news. You'll get to hear from the instructors about their favorite technology and what's used in the class. You'll get to see that biotech, at the core of everything we do, it's all about helping others, right? Like we said on the first slide, biotech improves our quality of life. So this can be ranging from medicine to agriculture, energy, you name it. And at the end of the day, biotech is hands-on and fun. This is one of the most engaging, fun programs I have ever seen. We always like to post pictures of our students working, and they're always smiling, and we don't even tell them to smile. So you'll get to see some of those smiles, because it's just so fun to challenge yourself and to really start to understand and build these building blocks to becoming an excellent scientist. So we'll just begin at the beginning. I'll give you our origin story. So we have the life science industry, and what that is it's the all-encompassing big dog. It's the sector, right? So within that sector, you have different subsectors. You have different fields that people specialize in, ranging from biopharmaceuticals to research and manufacturing, developing scientific and research tools, food and agriculture, and of course, medical devices and equipment. So these are just some of the various fields. For the sake of the data I will be showing you, this is how they cluster the different industries within the life science industry. So it'll just make sense. This is a good way to present it for later. So the life science industry had this, it's using great technology. The more technology we advance, the more there is to do, the more that can be discovered. And so the life science industry was seeing a steady incline on the number of jobs that are available, growing, growing, growing. But then they had a problem. There wasn't the number of skilled workers coming in to fill those jobs, right? You had people who were maybe coming with their bachelor's degree, but they had a lot of theoretical knowledge. They did not have hands-on knowledge where they have applied the different techniques that you use within industry, right? So lots of theory, excellent biology backgrounds, but not hands-on skills, right? You can't watch skills. Skills are hands-on. You got to do skills. And so what began to happen is this divide, this disparity started to grow and grow and grow. And we resulted in this skills gap. And so we have all these jobs, but since we don't have the skilled workers to fill them, it starts to hinder our ability to keep advancing science and medicine. So what they did was they contacted our 5 schools: Fullerton College, Santa Ana College, Santiago Canyon College, Orange Coast College, Irvine Valley College. And together we went ahead and we partnered up, and you have this curriculum that is consistent amongst all the colleges. And that helps us form OC Biotech Education. And so you get a lot of regional perks for the collaboration amongst these schools. Things ranging from, almost like private school classroom sizes, the ability to fill your schedule as needed, so that you're completing at your own pace. And you also have our piece de resistance, our job developer, who helps you get into industry. So you have because of the collaboration, you have a lot of different tools. And so this kind of ties in more into where I was telling you we have these challenging and engaging and dynamic classrooms, right? We really focus on helping you build student networks. So first off, we have the students that kind of come into our program. They can come from high school, they can come directly from college, but they come into the program, and the program's able to give them back so much. We're able to start at the certificate level, but we're also able to do things like maybe recommend them to university internships. Maybe, they get the referral from that instructor that they worked with that's able to help them seal the deal. I know we work with Chapman, Cal State Fullerton over summer. So many of our students are doing these great internship programs at a lot of these sites, at a lot of these universities. So you're able to also add universities to your resume without having to pay the university to go there. So there's a lot of benefits within that. But also, our students are standing out when they want to transfer, when they want to join these labs. So it's kind of this constant give. And a lot of the students who finish at universities that have that theoretical knowledge, but they tried to go get jobs, they're coming back now to us and they're like, hey, I need to get hands-on skills. I understand the theoretical knowledge. I'm going to take the biotech courses, get my certificates, and I'm going to get those hands-on skills. And so what that means is you start to have this really dynamic classroom where you have high school students, college students, university grads, postbacks, coming back in and working together in the classroom. It's quite amazing. And to top it off, we also work very close with the life science industry. As you saw, we exist because the life science industry has this skills gap. But what also happens within that is that the life science industry is on our advisory board. We are working with them constantly to make sure that what our students are being trained in are the most up-to-date and the best industry standards available. So we're making sure that you're not getting outdated technology. We are on top of it. And also that means that industry is hiring our students and referring in employees maybe at the entry level that want to upgrade their skills to more of that mid-tier level or above. So we have a lot of students that come in from already working in the field too. So what that means for you is think about that classroom, right? You have faculty who have over 50 years combined experience in a lab, commercial labs, right? So not even including being on campus. In commercial labs, in industry, you have over 50 years combined combined experience amongst our faculty. Then you have students who are coming in at every level, those who have been working, those who went to the university, and those who are just getting started. So it's a really fun classroom. And so what that means for you too is that there's limitless opportunities. What's really great about biotech is you learn fundamental skills that are integral to many, many different pathways. And so these are just some of the most popular fields or careers to kind of get into. I'm not going to go through them all just for the sake of time, but if you ever have any questions about them, please feel free to reach out. We're doing some really cool stuff. As you know, the vaccines have really saved the day, and it's really kept our healthcare system from collapsing. Was, you know, all these scientists kind of working in the background. So you have any questions? I personally work more, lean more towards the bioinformatics side, but we also have Jonay who did stem cell research. So all of us kind of have our toes in the water here. And so within that, I think it's really, this is my favorite slide, and it's probably the most, it's kind of boring, but you know, we love numbers and data here. But so this is from the California Economic Impact Report. So this was made by the state. And so bottom line is this business is lucrative, guys. So 2020, I think we all remember what 2020 was like. So in 2020, the average annual earnings for a person working in biotech was 122K. That is incredible. For Orange County, I mean, it's not cheap. So it's just such a great field that makes sure that the people working in it are having sustainable and living wages. And so this is kind of where I get excited looking here. And this actually really, really shows the skills gap. If we look in this first column here, we have 65,000 people were directly employed by the life sciences by a life science industry in 2020, right? So that's from amongst all those different fields that I show you. But look right beneath it. There are 162,000 supported jobs in the region. That is huge, guys. That's almost 100,000 jobs that are going unfilled, right? And so what that means is it really starts to stagnate our progress. So we need people working in this field, in every aspect of this field. And it'll get even more interesting on the next slide. I really like this in the right column here. We have that biotech in Orange County generated $46.5 billion just in Orange County. How much money do you think Disneyland generates? On a good year, it's like 8 billion and some change. Average year, it's about 5 billion. So biotech is always just running in the background, and you can see like that is, I mean, that's like eightfold what Disneyland is bringing in. So it's amazing that it's just always working in the background, and it's so integral to our lives. We don't even, you know, it doesn't have to have a fireworks show for us to be like, oh, biotech is affecting us. So I thought that was incredible. And then also about 15 billion of what's generated goes towards labor income. And so I think it's also really important to highlight, you know, I know you guys are like, oh, 122K. Sure, Danielle, like that means that I'm going to have to be in school for like ever, and I'm going to have my doctorate first. And it's just, you know, that's just not realistic. Well, this is the slide that I was telling you to hold on for. So if you look at the educational attainment within Orange County, and again, this is coming directly from the state. This is from the census. This is as accurate information as you can possibly get. And so you can start to see that the life science industry is really seeking skills first and foremost by this pie chart. If we were to look at everyone who just has an associate's degree or below, 60% of life science jobs in Orange County required an AS degree or less. So 60% of the jobs that are out there, you know, you can get with us. And if you want to go back to this slide, 60% of the 162,000 supported jobs in that region is about 97,000 jobs that are there for people with less than an associate's degree. So I'm completely sold on this industry. And you know, one thing that's on all of our minds is that we want to be essential and we want to be sustainable. After the year we've all had, you know, or almost 2 years, you know, everything's shifted, everything's changed. The workforce is still trying to figure out what's going on. But while California within itself dropped, 7.4% in total jobs. Biotech was up 5%. And you can just see that there's just so much growth, even biopharmaceuticals. And the only reason I think that dropped was because they switched gears to focus on the pandemic, right? But that's just an assumption. But everything sustained better than any other industry within California. So it's also good to see that this industry that generates so much money for us is sustainable and essential. So I hope you guys are sold on it. I love this industry. I thought those numbers were so amazing. But let's tell you how to get started and how to get within that pie chart where you can start working within the biotech industry with just some skills and some classes that you start to take. So I'm going to go ahead and transition over to Professor Kathleen Takahashi. She's the biotech lead at Santa Ana College, and she's going to share with you the shared regional certificate pathway.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to talk you through the shared regional certificates. So what we did as a group is we set up stackable certificates. So you can start by taking one certificate, and if you like that, you can continue and get more. Our first certificate is the Biotech Lab Assistant Certificate, then the Biomanufacturing Technician Certificate, then the Biotech Technician Certificate. After that, you can actually get an AS degree in biotechnology, and then that transfers. We have an articulation pathway for that to the university, to Miracosta and Solano colleges, where you can get a bachelor's degree in biomanufacturing. And that's all for less than $11,000 total. So that's a really inexpensive way to get a bachelor's degree. Our first certificate is the Lab Assistant Certificate. This consists of 4 classes. You have an Intro to Biotech lecture and lab class. You have the Biotech Skills class, and this is the main class where you learn those really important biotechnology skills, and an Intro to Chemistry class. You can actually complete this while you're in high school, and we have many high school students that are on the pathway taking those classes. These would give you jobs in things like laboratory fermentation or manufacturing assistant, and these are all entry-level jobs. Our next certificate is the biomanufacturing certificate, and here you step up your skills. So you learn about proteins, how this is the tail end of upstream manufacturing, and downstream processing where you're purifying and analyzing those proteins. You learn about quality and regulatory compliance and why that's really essential in this industry, and you learn some more chemistry. And at the end of that certificate, you have the skills to work in manufacturing or purification. And then our third level certificate is the Biological Technician Certificate. Here you're learning more upstream processing and more R&D applications. You're learning about nucleic acids and how to mutate genes and clone genes and things like that. You also learn tissue culture techniques, so how to express those proteins, how to use different eukaryotic cell lines. And then you can pick elective classes if you're interested in biochemistry or microbiology, or if you want to get the associate's degree, then you can take the cell molecular biology class with the gen ed classes, and you would get the associate's degree. So you can get these as individual certificates, or you can combine them together into an associate's degree. And like I said, after that, you go on for your bachelor's degree.
It looks like it's thinking. Okay, it's coming up. I'm next. So as Danielle mentioned, I'm Professor Denise Foley. I'm at Santiago Canyon College, and I teach some biotech classes and microbiology. While we're waiting, I am about to talk a little bit about the operations, which are the things that you are learning how to do in these courses. So the major part of the course where you're learning your skills and becoming proficient is, of course, in the laboratory. So the lecture will give you the theory, and the laboratory is where you're practicing your hands-on skills. So we're coming on up to the operations, and the operations, again, are building skills upon skills in these courses. So skills that you learn in that Biotech A course, that basic lab skills course, will be built upon in the later courses. So these are some of the things, right, the skills that you'll need from the laboratories at the college that you'll be transferring with you and using them in the industry. And you'll become familiar with the terminology as well. So some of this may be very foreign to you, and you might have a pretty vague idea of what these things mean, but trust me, when you come out of the course, you will know about these operations very well. So like, for example, you need to know how to enter and exit a clean area, right? Called a clean room, where they are going to be producing in industry various products that cannot afford to be contaminated. So you need to follow the proper procedures to get in and out. Hazardous waste disposal and how to handle that is something that you'll also be learning in the lab. How to take care of glassware. So while you might think that something like washing dishes sounds pretty uninspiring or unexciting, if you do not have absolutely pristine glassware, then when you're running your experiments, they're not going to come out right. So clean glassware and sterilizing procedures is really, really important. So this just goes through some of that, and all together doing things right in the laboratory is considered current good laboratory practices. And those are the types of procedures and processes that we will be teaching you in these laboratory courses, so that when you go into industry, you should know how and why you're doing these things. Okay. So in the more advanced courses, after you finish that basic lab skills course, there are specific classes that focus, as Professor Takahashi mentioned, on cell culture, for example, or protein biochemistry, or nucleic acid, your DNA and RNA. And there are specific procedures that are very common in dealing with these types of either molecules or the processes surrounding culturing cells, for example. And so you will learn these different procedures and practice them in the courses. And you'll even get to know about and practice some of the cutting edge types of procedures. You may have heard of, for example, CRISPR-Cas9. It's in the news an awful lot. It's the molecular scissors. It has a lot of promise for things like gene therapy for humans. But of course, they're not using it in humans yet. They're still practicing on animal models, for example. But you would be able to learn about and practice that particular technique on cells, not on animals, but on cells in our courses. Okay. So now I'm going to turn over this particular portion of the talk to Professor Kim Rosales, who is at Fullerton College. She's going to talk a little bit about our lab equipment.
So hi everyone, my name's Dr. Kim Rosales, and I do teach many of the biotech courses at Fullerton College. Through our collaboration, we've been working really hard to ensure that we have all the state-of-the-art equipment to offer you top-notch training on all of these very advanced skills. So we don't want you to wait until you have to transfer and maybe learn this somewhere down the line. We want you to get hands-on experience now with the best equipment possible, so that you can be as competitive as possible going into industry or transferring into a four-year college. So we have many different things. You know, we have micropipettes that we have in our classrooms, lots of them for all the students, centrifuges. We have state-of-the-art spectrophotometers that can, called nanodrops, where we can take 1 microliter of a DNA sample and measure the concentration of those samples. And we have lots of different microscopes. And we're not just talking about basic microscopes that you've used maybe in your general bio classes. As you can see here in this picture in your upper right-hand corner, this is actually an inverted microscope where the objectives are underneath so that we can put plates of live cells that are growing in dishes and look at them in real time. We also have other very sophisticated microscopes that we can use to actually stain cells, stain cellular structures, and really analyze and look at what's happening in these cells as they're growing or after an endpoint analysis. You know, in addition to some of that basic equipment, something you've probably been hearing a lot about in the news is quantitative PCR or polymerase chain reaction. This has been a fundamental technique that's been used to evaluate whether a person is COVID positive. And so we're training our students in these advanced molecular techniques so that they can jump right into the workforce and be able to perform these techniques, not after 4 years, but after a couple of semesters. And so we do have state-of-the-art PCR machines. We have qPCR machines that are very expensive. I will just give you an indication that when I was at UC Irvine doing my PhD, my lab did not have a qPCR machine. When I was a postdoc, okay, after I had my PhD at City of Hope, my lab did not have their own qPCR machine. We had one machine that was shared, you know, as through multiple different labs. So when I say that we have some of the most advanced equipment, I'm not saying for a community college. I'm saying for industry, academic labs in general. Okay. So we also have fast protein liquid chromatography, many different types of gel boxes, whether we're talking about DNA or protein gels. And something that I'm really excited to talk about is the fact that several of our campuses have tissue culture facilities. So this is our tissue culture facility at Fullerton College. There are tissue culture facilities at our other colleges as well. What this means is that we as a collaborative have really been pushing to get as much funding as we can to ensure we have the best equipment. And this tissue culture facility is top notch. So on your left-hand side, these are what we call biosafety cabinets. These are specialized cabinets that you use to actually sit down and you have your human, mouse, plant cells that you work with inside of these cabinets to ensure sterility, right? Make sure that your cells are not getting contaminated as you're working with them. This is highly sought after this is a highly sought after technique in industry right now. Our advisory board, you know, earlier this year said, we need people that know this skill, okay? And so we are training students to work with human cells, mouse cells, plant cells, bacterial cells in these specialized biosafety cabinets. We grow these cells in incubators. We learn how to do manipulations with them, express genes in these cells, stain them for cellular structures, and even use CRISPR in these cells. So this is a really, really amazing opportunity for you guys to have this facility and be able to train on this equipment. You can see our microscopes, our incubators. So this is one of the additions that we've added, I know, at Fullerton College in pretty much the last 3 years to our program. And we're eager and waiting for you to enroll in this class. In addition to working with cells in culture, we have other advanced equipment as well. I know at Santiago Canyon, they have a DNA sequencer, which is a very sophisticated piece of equipment to be able to sequence DNA. Over here on the right-hand side, I don't know if you can see, this is an automatic plate pourer for agar plates. And so it's actually, you can see the stack on the left, you can see the plates are being poured and shifted over. So we have a lot of this automated machinery as well, which you'll also encounter in both academic and industry labs.
I'm going to pick back up. This is Denise Foley from Santiago again, and just say a little bit more about that transfer to the biomanufacturing bachelor's degree. So we want to stress to the students that, you know, if you want to pursue a bachelor's degree, you might be considering transferring to a Cal State or a UC. And you can see that even at the Cal States or the UCs, which are considered a quote unquote good bargain for your advanced, you know, your bachelor's degree, it still will come with a pretty hefty price tag. But going directly from our programs and getting an AS in our biotech programs, they directly transfer to the bachelor's programs at both Miracosta Community College, which is in Oceanside, not that far away, as well as Solano Community College, which is up near Napa. And you would get a bachelor's degree in biomanufacturing, which is, of course, an arm of biotech concerned with biomanufacturing. Biomanufacturing is where we produce the different drugs, for example, the protein-based drugs that are so important right now in healthcare. So you may have heard of monoclonal antibodies, especially for treating COVID patients. When it was President Trump that had COVID, he was given a monoclonal antibody treatment. Those biomanufactured, and this is the degree that's focused around that. So just to reemphasize that this degree would cost you less than $11,000 from start to finish. So from day one at a community college, say at Santiago or Santa Ana or Fullerton College or Irvine Valley, right? You would be going directly from those community colleges to the other community colleges. We've had students that have graduated from Miracosta already, and they immediately got snapped up even before they graduated into the industry, and they're moving up that career ladder. So this is a really excellent opportunity. And just FYI, both of these colleges also have connections to direct transfers into masters and into PhD programs. So if you're looking to continue your education even beyond bachelor's, if you transfer to one of these community colleges, they have a pathway for you already laid out. And so yes, it's all 4 of the community colleges. Thanks, Kathy. I see somebody's answering that in the chat. So this is a great opportunity for an educational path that is not going to break the bank and get you into a really good job. Okay, and so now I think we're wrapping it up with our internship coordinator, Jonay Varela. Take it away, Jonay.
Sorry about that, my Zoom, had those Zoom problems. And just to emphasize, thank you so much, Denise, for going over that about the bachelor's program. To put it into perspective a little bit, per year, just at a Cal State program like Cal State Fullerton, it's about $6,000 just for tuition. So if you take that cost and times it by 4, you know, just for tuition alone, you're looking at $24,000. You know, to get a bachelor's degree, and the same thing you would get at Miracosta for literally a fraction of the cost. So when you're thinking about that, thinking about your next step, really think about that cost of college and how we can really help you get there, but being fiscally responsible. And so another aspect of our program is our internship and job placement program. So I am the internship coordinator. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jonay Varela. So I'm here and I'm the regional job developer, and I serve you, the students, and helping you get into that next step, going from the classroom and into that actual position in industry, whether that's in academia or you're going right into industry, like right into the biotech industry, whatever it may be, we can help you get to your goal. And so the first thing I always like to emphasize is that you will gain really great skills, so that way you can apply it to your job experience. So when you're taking these courses with our faculty, you're learning these hands-on skills that will set you apart from others who are in the STEM field. You gain such great skills in a laboratory setting, both soft and technical skills, that you're able to really translate that into the internship. And so you're able to gain the ability not only to have the skills to translate it to the job, but it also translates as you transfer or as you continue on into the field. You have a lot of knowledge about the daily duties of what it's like to actually work in a lab, such as gowning up, or making sure that you know how to work in a clean room, how to work the equipment and the different techniques that you're having to utilize. You really learn that in the classrooms. And then with our internship program, you're able to apply that with our partnership companies. Not only that, I help you with your resume and your cover letter writing. So we have workshops, we have individual appointments that you can set. There's a lot of different opportunities that you can do in order to enhance your resume. So that way you're more hireable. So that when you're applying to these positions, they're like, we want to take this student because they have these skills that they learned in the OC Biotech program. So there's a lot of different things that we can do to help you. And lastly is our networking component. So as a job developer, not only do I assist students in making sure that they have their resume and cover letter and that whole portion completed, but we also make partnerships with different companies within Orange County and throughout the state. We've even made partnerships out of the state with different companies in order to facilitate and make sure our students have a seamless pipeline into the workforce. So just remember, we are really trying to create a network for you so that way you feel welcome and that way you feel encouraged to stay within STEM and stay within our field. So I see we have a question in the chat. Let's see. I don't know if someone answered it. How can a current student complete some of these courses if they are in school during the day? Are all the courses offered online or given the subject? Do they have to be in person? As Janae mentioned, learn to use the equipment. Okay, so I think that we do offer dual enrollment classes. So some of our dual enrollment classes can be at the times that you have your high school classes, depending on what high school you're at. We have them after class. So after your high school class times, we also have them in the evenings. So I don't know if the faculty want to speak a little bit more on when we offer classes.
The basic lab skills, the biology 191, I know that some of the campuses offer it during the summer session. And so the student that is interested in pursuing that, if they want to take the 191, may want to be checking the summer schedules for the various campus to see if one of the campuses is offering a course during the summer that would make sense for them. And sometimes the 191 course might be taught in the evening on other campuses as well during the regular semester.
And the 190, the Intro to Biotech lecture and lab is often taught in the summer as well, I know on our campus, so that could be another possibility. And as Jonah mentioned, we do try to be cognizant about, and Denise mentioned, we do try to have courses that are in the afternoons or evenings so that high school students or working individuals could potentially come and enroll in those courses. And I've taught dual enrollment at a couple of high schools. So if you're in high school, you should definitely talk to us and see if we service your high school currently, because we might. And that the courses are usually right after the bell ends, like at 3:30, we start our courses at those high schools.
I think another component.
I think that the
sorry,
email on the screen, the internship at ocbiotech.education.org, is a good email address for you to use for any questions. Jonae can always forward questions if you have them about classes or specific campuses to us. So that probably is a good outreach email just for anything in general.
You can email that email as well for dual enrollment questions.
Yeah, we can go ahead and open up the floor for questions. If you can also find us on Instagram at OC Biotech Ed, and you'll get to see all the different, if you want to get more specific, you can DM the SAC Biotech Instagram account, the SCC Biotech Instagram account, the FC Biotech Instagram account. We have people who are there helping answer questions too. And then also for general, we have the info at ocbiotech.education.org. So you have the internship and the info. Either way, you get serviced very quickly.